The following is a presentation of Retro Sports Network, home of the champions of the past, present, and/or future, and presented by Sports Simulations and Replays on Facebook, the group that wants your love and attention if you play console gaming, PC gaming, or tabletop sports. Whatever your pleasure, Sports Simulation and Replays on Facebook is the group for you. If you aren't a member, go join it today. That's Sports Simulations and Replays on Facebook. And a happy Sunday afternoon to you. My name is Ron Chuckett. This is Retro Sports, and this is the American League opener for that 70's tournament. The 1975 Boston Red Sox and the 1970 Baltimore Orioles. We'll go back to our regular 4 o'clock time the next few Sundays, as we don't have major championship golf butting up against it. And of course, for those of you eagerly awaiting Game of Thrones tonight, you only have 7 more hours. It's okay. So we have an interesting matchup for you. The Baltimore Orioles of 1970 won the World Series. They won well over 100 games. They've got pitching, defense, and all that they have Brooks Robinson and Frank Robinson too. So they are heavily favored to win this game. Normally I would do the Red Sox, but since this is a tournament, I'm going to be playing the Orioles. The Orioles face the 1975 Boston Red Sox with a twist. Jim Rice is healthy for this game. Rice, one of the big reasons why the Red Sox went to the American League playoffs in 1975, was hurt. He missed the World Series, and I think he missed the ALCS victory over Oakland too. So the Red Sox do have that advantage of having Jim Rice as the left fielder. But Red Sox pitching isn't very good. You're going to see Bill Lee go today. He had the best ERA plus, so the decision was Bill Lee over Louis Tiant. Jim Palmer had the best ERA plus for the Orioles. He is on the hill today for Baltimore. So it's the Red Sox and Orioles. We are using a DH because the Orioles are the only non-DH team for the American League. And of course, in 2 weeks' time, we have the Reggie Jackson Bowl, the other semifinal in the American League side of the tournament, the Oakland Athletics from 72 and the 77 New York Yankees. But now it's the Red Sox and the Orioles from Baltimore's Memorial Stadium. Get it right, Ronnie. 72 degrees and clear, winds at 12 from right to left on this beautiful October day. And we go to the chat. How you doing, Bud W? Yep, the spaceman on the hill for Boston. Here is the lineup for the Red Sox. Leading off is Carl Yastrzemski. He is the first baseman. Cecil Cooper is the DH. Most people remember him with the Milwaukee Brewers. Fred Lynn, one of the Gold Dust Twins, the MVP in 75, the Rookie of the Year in 75, will bat third. Jim Rice, the left fielder, cleans up. Then Carlton Fisk will catch and bat fifth, and I wonder what he did in the 75 series. Then the offense kind of drops off from there. Rick Burleson is the shortstop. He'll bat sixth. Dwight Evans, great defensively. Not so great with the bat in 75. He'll go seventh. Rico Petrocelli is the third baseman. He'll bat eighth. And Doug Griffin is the second baseman. He'll bat ninth. As Dave Little sings "Take Me Out to the Ball Game." Defensively for the Orioles. In left field, it's Don Buford, a 3 and a 7. In center field, Paul Blair, a 10 and a 7. And in right, Frank Robinson, a 6 and a 9. So Blair is the best range, but Robinson has the best arm. In the infield, it's Brooks Robinson. He's a perfect 10 at third. He single-handedly, beat the Reds in the 70 series. Mark Belanger can't hit, but oh, can he field. You got two Hoovers on the left side of the infield. Belanger is a 9. And looking out, Davey Johnson. May not be the world's best manager, but boy, he could pick it at second. He's a 10. And Boog Powell, thankfully not wearing the Cleveland Indian uniform, is a 6 at first, with Ellie Hendricks, or Elrod Hendricks, pick your poison, behind the plate, a 5 and a 4. So we're ready. Jim Palmer probably should go the distance. 20 and 10 in 1970 with a 2.71 ERA. 305 innings. Imagine that? No. Today? No. 263 hits allowed, 21 homers. He walked 100 and struck out 199. Him and Cuellar are the big two pitchers for the Orioles. If they advance, you'll see Cuellar in the semifinal. Yastrzemski, not a great 75, 269, 14 homers, and 60 RBI. So we're ready. Palmer's ready. Let's do this. And the first pitch is a fly ball to shallow right. In comes Robinson, 1 out. Yes, why is Fisk lost? Because that was the best place to put him in 75. He had a good on-base percentage, and you don't want to bury him in the lineup. Here's Cecil Cooper, who actually is in a Red Sox hat. He's at 311 on the year, 14 part-time duty, 14 homers, and 44 RBI. Palmer delivers, and there's a liner in the left. Buford's there, 2 out. And this brings up the MVP. I had his poster in my room as a kid. Fred Lynn, 331, 21 homers, 105 RBI, 103 runs scored. That's a pretty good rookie year, ain't it? Palmer's pitch struck him out. So a 2-2 from Palmer off speed, swung on and missed. So the Red Sox go down quietly in the top of the first. Half an inning in the books. Boston nothing. Here come the Orioles. And no, it's not that Bill Lee, although I think they threw equally hard. The Spaceman, 17-9, and with the best ERA plus for the Red Sox in 1975. His real ERA was 3.95. I think Baltimore might do some business today. In 260 innings, he allowed 274 hits and 20 homers. He walked 69 and struck out 78. How the hell did this team make the World Series? Forever grateful, but here's the lineup he'll be facing. As we said, DH for both teams. Don Buford will lead off in left field. Red Carl Yastrzemski wooden baseball bat. That's kind of cool. Davey Johnson will bat second and play second. Frank Robinson is in right. He'll hit third. Boog Powell, the first baseman, cleans up. Brooks Robinson at third. Paul Blair, the center fielder, bats sixth. Ellie Hendricks, the catcher, will go seventh. Mark Belanger will bat eighth, and that just goes to show how Terry Crowley was ill-equipped to be a DH. He'll bat ninth. And Palmer threw all of 9 pitches in the first. Yeah, not that building. Defensively for Boston, it's Jim Rice and lefties a 5 and a 5. Freddie Lynn a 9 and an 8. Never really was as good defensively after ramming his shoulder into the left center field wall at Fenway during that World Series. Dwight Evans a 9 and a 9 in right field. He is magnificent. Rico Petrocelli could still pick one. He's a 7 at third. Rick Burleson is a 7 at short. Doug Griffin can't hit, but he can field, an 8 at second. Carl Yastrzemski a 7 at first, and Carlton Fisk a 7 and 7 behind the plate. So defensively, the Red Sox are very good, and they can kind of hit, but they really can't pitch. Don Buford at 272, 17 homers, and 66 RBI. Lee delivers, and Buford slaps out one past Burleson. So already a base hit, and that'll bring up Davey Johnson at 281, 10 homers, and 53 RBI. Pitch from Lee, and Johnson sends that one down to Yas, takes it to the bag himself, and Davey is retired. Buford goes to second. So, reminder, the next few weeks it'll be back at 4 o'clock. And next week on that 70's tournament, the other National League semifinal, the 78 Dodgers visit the good family of the 79 Pittsburgh Pirates at Three Rivers Stadium. Here's Frank Robinson at 306, 25 homers, and 78 RBI. Buford on second, 1 out. Pitch from Lee. Ball 4. And that brings up Boog Powell. Boog hit .297, 35 home runs. That's a metric ton for 1970. And 114 RBI. He's already got a runner on second. And Robinson on first. Brooks on deck, by the way. Lee delivers, and it's a pop-up. Fisk to the fence. Out of play. 0-2 the count. Pitch from Lee. Powell, base hit right side. Evans picks it up. Buford will hold. And the Orioles have him loaded for Brooks Robinson at .276, 18 home runs, and 94 RBI. So 2 hits for the Orioles. And the Red Sox in the heap of trouble here in the bottom of the first. Pitch from Lee, and that's right to Burleson. A liner snagged by Burleson. 2 out. And so Bill Lee, who better known as the Spaceman, and a connoisseur of interesting pancake toppings, might get lucky here. Paul Blair at .267, 18 homers and 65 RBI. At the plate, and he smashes that one past Burleson. Buford scores, Robbie scores, Powell stops at third, and Paul Blair has 2 RBI. Yeah, although he wasn't given credit for the RBI. Here's Ellie Hendricks, Elrod at .242, 12 homers and 41 RBI on the real year. 2-0 Orioles. Pitch to Lee is a ground ball to Griffin over to Yastrzemski, and that will retire the side. So the Orioles draw first blood. 2 runs on 3 hits. And no errors. After 1, Baltimore 2, Boston nothing. So it's my favorite player of all time, Jim Rice, Carlton Fisk, and Rick Burleson here for the Sox in the second. Rice had a this would have been his rookie year too. Not as good as Lynn's, but boy, did the Red Sox miss him in the playoffs. 309, 22 homers, and 102 RBI. Palmer deals, and Rice hits this one into right. Robinson is there, 1 out. Carlton Fisk was kind of hurt for a lot of the year, but he still hit .331 in 75, 10 home runs and 263 at-bats, and 52 RBI. And I'm being told to be quiet about what happened in the World Series, so I will. Palmer delivers, and Fisk sends this one deep to left. Back goes Buford, and that is against the wall. Buford makes a fantastic catch. A diving stop on the track, and there's 2 out for Burleson, who hit .252. 6 homers, believe it or not. And 62 RBI. RF, how you doing? The back comment made me think of those whose signatures were on my Little League gloves. I think I remember using a Vita Blue and a George Brett. Dave Little's favorite player was Eric Davis. I mentioned mine was Rice. Bud W. mentions Johnny Bench. Sports Time Machine says Thurman Munson. Mays is close, absolutely. Palmer delivers to Burleson. Fly ball to left. Buford's there, and that will retire the side. No runs, no hits, no errors. Palmer threw 2 innings on 20 pitches. We go to the bottom of the second. 2-0 Birds. For Mark Belanger, who hit .218, a homer and 36 RBI. Belanger was not there for his bat, which means I've just sent him up to hit a home run. Lee delivers, struck him out on a 76-mile-an-hour fastball, because that's how hard Lee threw. 1 away. Here's Terry Crowley. Now remember, the 70 Orioles didn't use a DH. That came in 73. But the computer... Why the heck did they... Wow. Anywho, 257, 5 homers, and 20 RBI. Crowley slaps that one to Burleson, over to Yastrzemski at first for the out. And Munson was about as much of a friend of the Red Sox family as John Gotti was to the FBI. So through 9 batters, Bill Lee an inning and 2/3, 3 hits, 36 pitches, a walk, a strikeout, and 2 earned runs. Don Buford singled and scored to start the ballgame. Pitch from Lee, and there's a chopper down to Griffin, and Griffin finally gets it out of his glove. It bounded around. The throw to first is in time. So it hit off his chest, kind of warbled around, and then Griffin with a bang-banger over to Yaz, and that will retire the side. Better inning for Lee. No runs, no hits, no errors. 2 in the books, 2-0 Baltimore. Why would it? I don't even think Mark Belanger owned his own bat. Yeah, I don't think many of us, Bucky Dent, of course, has that special middle name, which I won't mention. But it is deserved. It'll be Dwight Evans, Rico Petrocelli, and Griffin for the Red Sox here in the third. Dewey at 274. 13 homers and 56 RBI. Pitch from Palmer. Struck him out. So Palmer got him on a full count fastball for the strikeout. Swung on and missed for Rico Petrocelli at 239. Rico's back half of his career here. 7 homers and 59 RBI. Kent Tekulve. Yeah. Kent Tekulve was one giant elbow and had a rubber arm. You'll see him next week against the Dodgers. Pitch to Petrocelli is a base hit left side. So Rico's on with a 1-out single, and that'll bring up Doug Griffin. Hit 240. Kind of looks like Dave Little, doesn't it? A homer and 29 RBI. Orioles will play for the bunt. So Brooksy and Powell move in. Palmer deals, and Griffin slaps this one into left center. Blair makes the catch. 2 out. Brings up Yaz. So through 9 batters, Jim Palmer, 2 2/3 innings, 1 hit, 2 strikeouts, and 38 pitches. Yes, it is funny how Bucky Dent and Aaron Boone have the same middle name. Kind of Regal with an F in the front, yes. Harboski? Oh, yeah. The Mad Hungarian, he had a few F and King words that came out of his mouth, too. So Petrocelli on first for Yaz at the plate. Carl's 0 for 1. Palmer delivers, ball 4, and so the Red Sox have got something going here in the second for Cecil Cooper, who was 0 for 1. Jim deals, pitch to Cooper, fly ball to right. Robinson in the corner makes the catch to retire the side. No runs, 1 hit, no errors. 2.5 in the books. Baltimore 2, Boston nothing. So Davey Johnson, Frank Robinson, and Boog Powell here for the Orioles in the third. Bill Lee, 2 innings, 3 hits. That's about what you would expect. Davey Johnson went 0 for 1. How many Little League coaches of Pittsburgh fans had to scream, "Quit trying to throw it like Tekulve"? I can't, that elbow. And he pitched forever, too. Pitch to Johnson is popped up. Fisk to the screen. No. So the count is 0-2. The 0-2 to Johnson. Ground ball to Griffin. Lee goes to cover the bag, and that's an out. So the rare 4-1 play. And there's 1 out for Frank Robinson, who walked and scored in the first. Quisenberry threw underhand as well, yeah. Who was? It was Terry Leach, though, who pitched for the Mets and the Twins in the 80s. That really was an honest-to-goodness submariner. I mean, you could get a sandwich, and it wasn't as good of a submarine as what Leach would throw. Billy walks Robinson, so not what the Red Sox want. The 3-0 pitch was high and inside, and Lee says, yes, I was. Boog Powell singled his first time up. So 1 on, 1 out, bottom of the third. 2-0 Orioles here. Pitch to Powell is a base hit left field. Rice grabs it. Robinson will hold at second. Earl has been kind not to get into the Chesterfield yet, and so Robbie doesn't need to do that. Here's Brooksy. Brooks is 0 for 1. Pitch to Lee. From Lee. Ground ball to right back to Bill. To second for 1. Over to Yaz. Call it 2. No runs, 1 hit, no errors. That's a typical Bill Lee inning. After 3, it's still Baltimore 2, Boston nothing. Lee and Rice getting along today? I hope so. Here's Freddie Lynn. He struck out his first time up. So I said, beautiful October day here. 72 degrees, winds blowing right to left at 12. Fred struck out his first time up. Palmer deals, and that one is lifted to right. Robinson will turn and watch it go. Ho, ho, ho! Freddie Lynn with a home run, and it's now 2-1 Baltimore. And Lynn just kind of parked that one. And that brings up Rice as 0 for 1. Dale, Lonsdale, how you doing? He did get all of that one, Mr. Little. So Palmer's pitch, and that's a little looper down to Belanger over to Powell, and Rice doesn't possess that kind of speed. 1 out for Carlton Fisk. Palmer deals, and Pudge hits this one into left center. Back goes Blair to the track, to the Red Sox pen, and makes the catch for the second out. And that'll bring up Rick Burleson, who's 0 for 1. Palmer delivers, and there's a base hit into right field. So Robinson will pick it up, and the Red Sox have a 2-out base runner for Dwight Evans, who struck out his first time. Palmer pitching in his uniform and not his skivvies, thank goodness. Delivers, and Evans laces this one into left, but Don Buford's there to retire at the side. The Red Sox get a run on the solo shot by Lynn. 2 hits and no errors. After 3.5, we got ourselves a ball game. Baltimore 2, Boston 1. I would tend to doubt that RF, although someone, please correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, you're taught to throw hard, and you got to strike out batters. If you're nibbling around the strike zone and get it, it's going to get crushed in today's game. So Paul Blair is up. He had the 2 RBI single his first time in the first. Hendricks and Belanger to follow. Lee delivers, ball 4. So Blair leads off the inning. Terry, how you doing? They don't come with the game. I've got 2 folders. One, an overall omnibus, which is why you're seeing Bill Lee from the Cubs. It has 33,000 pictures there. And I have a specific one for the 82 season. So Hendricks is 0 for 1. Ellie hits this one into left center. Back goes Lynn. Makes the catch. Blair goes back to first. That brings up Belanger, who is 0 for 1. Red Sox playing normal. We're going to sack bunt. Bunt is down. Fisk throws to first. Griffin covering, 2 out. For Terry Crowley, who I still can't believe the computer picked, as a DH. Blair on second. Crowley is 0 for 1. Cat is going to try to steal my candy dish again. Pitch to Crowley. There goes Blair. Ground ball to Burleson over to Yaz at first, and Blair will... Well, the side's retired. How about that? No runs, no hits, no errors. After 4, Baltimore 2, Boston 1. How you doing, Combat Painter? Glad to have you along on this Sunday afternoon. 2-1 Orioles as we start the 5th. Rico Petrocelli singled his first time up. You gonna call? No. Now the cat is just kind of discombobulated. So Palmer starts his 5th inning. Petrocelli, Griffin, and Yaz here in the 5th. And Rico strikes out. 0-2 on the inside corner, and Rico watches strike 3. So 1 out for Griffin. This one's been a good game. Palmer's pitch, and Griffin sends this one into shallow right. Robinson comes in and makes a diving stop. 2 out for Carl Yastrzemski. Yaz is 0 for 1 with a walk. So Palmer threw 18 batters, 4 2/3 innings, 3 hits, a home run. He walked 1 and struck out 3, and is throwing 67 of his 140 scheduled pitches, which just says that Earl is leaving Palmer in until his arm falls off. Pitch to Yaz is a ground ball base hit up the middle. So a 2-out single, and that'll bring up the DH, Cecil Cooper. 0 for 2. The pictures are done by name, and so you tell it, Bud, in the program how the pictures are labeled, and it will automatically assign it for you. Crowley makes his second. That's right. Crowley played last week for the Reds. And kind of like Carlton Fisk, it's a game that we've been told not to talk about. It's kind of like Augusta. You can't mention that. Here's the pitch to Cooper. Liner to Johnson, and that will retire the side. No runs, 1 hit, no errors. 4.5 in the books. This one's been a quick one so far. Baltimore 2. Boston nothing. And so let's get to the in-game box score. Bill Lee has pitched well. 4 innings, 4 hits, 2 runs in the first, but he settled right down. And Jim Palmer doing Jim Palmer things. And there's what we've done at the plate. 4 hits for the Red Sox, 4 hits for the Orioles. And Boog Powell is 2 for 2. But Paul Blair had the big single in the first to make it 2-0. And a reminder that this game on Retro Sports Network is presented by Sports Simulations and Replays. Make sure I got that right. On Facebook. Join the over 950 members who share their stories about either tabletop gaming, PC, or console sports, whatever your sports pleasure. Sports Simulations and Replays on Facebook is where you should go. If you're not a member, go join today. Don Buford, 1 for 2. Singleton scored in the first. Lee delivers, and there's a fly ball to left center. Lynn is there, and he makes a tremendous diving catch against the wall. Brings up Davey Johnson, who's 0 for 2. Oh, yeah, so through 19 batters, Bill Lee, 75 pitches, 4 1/3 innings, 4 hits, 3 walks, and a strikeout, and both the runs are earned. Pitch to Johnson is a pop-up left side, Rice in the corner, and someone from Laurel made that one. And Rex Barney still wants to sign him to a contract. 0-2 the count to Johnson. Lee's pitch, another fly ball to left, back goes Rice, and that is off the wall. Johnson's going to have 2. He's going to round second, going for third. The throw into Petrocelli is not in time. And so Davey Johnson has a 1-out triple for Frank Robinson. Not a problem. We could talk about last week's game. Tom Seaver will talk about that game. So, yeah, in the opener last week, the Reds lost to the Mets. The 73 Mets, who could pitch. They couldn't hit, but they could pitch. So Frank Robinson has walked twice and scored once. He's got Johnson on third. 1 out, 2-1 Baltimore, bottom of the 5th. And there's a base hit that's going to go all the way to the wall on left center. Robinson is hustling for third, and he's in there with a triple. So back-to-back triples. And that'll bring up Boog Powell, who is 2 for 2. It's 3-1 Baltimore. Pitch from Lee. Struck him out. A 1-2 fastball at 86. Swung on and missed. 2 out for Brooks Robinson. Oh! Well, you missed both the triples. It wouldn't be a game if I didn't make some sort of faux pas. Thank you, Mr. Little. So, well, all right. So Robinson is 0 for 2. He's grounded into a double play today. Pitch to Brooks is a base hit up the middle. Frank Robinson will score, and it's 4-1 Baltimore. And that brings up Paul Blair, whose 2 RBI single in the first made it 2-0. So the Orioles have some breathing room here. 4-1 in the bottom of the 5th. Pitch from Lee struck him out. Scroogey on the inside corner, and Blair watched it for strike 3. 2 runs on 3 hits. And no errors. After 5, the only thing you missed, Dale, was the 2 triples. After 5, Baltimore 4, Boston 1. We all make mistakes, and that's what you get for switching screens in the middle. So Fred Lynn had a homer his last time up. He's 1 for 2 with a strikeout. 4-1 as we start the 6th. Cat's going to get settled on my lap, and Sarah's going to get home from the grocery store. It does happen. Pitch to Lynn. Fly ball to center. Back goes Blair, and he makes the catch for the first out. Jim Rice is 0 for 2. Palmer kicks and deals, and he got Jim Ed on a 2-2 pitch on the inside corner. It said the Express, but it's only at 86 miles an hour. So 2 out for Pudge Fisk, who hammered one to Buford his last time up, but it stayed in the yard. Palmer deals, and there is a liner in the center field. Blair comes in to make the catch to retire the side. No runs, no hits, no errors. 5.5 in the books. I think the wifey's coming home. The cat moved. Baltimore 4, Boston 1. So Ellie Hendricks is 0 for 2. It'll be Hendricks, Belanger, and I'm going to pinch hit for Crowley. Oh, thanks, darling. All of a sudden, I saw waving fingers and the door start to close, so I was right. Scared the living daylights out of me. Oh, boy. Pitch to Hendricks is a liner to Burleson for the out. 1 away. So Mike Belanger's 0 for 1. He sacrificed bunt and a strikeout. Lee. Pitch. Ball 4. So Belanger draws a walk. Earl drops a cigarette. Lee argues the call is a 3-1 low, and so there's no replay. It's 1970. We're not doing that. So Merv Retman, who could really hit lefties, is now the new DH at 322, 18 homers, and 58 RBI. Runner on first, 1 out, bottom of the 6th. Pitch from Lee. Retman sends this one high and deep to left. Rice goes back to the Oriole pen to make the catch. Belanger does the right thing and holds. And I'll bring up Don Buford, who's 1 for 3. He is singled and scored. So Bill Lee, 5 2/3 innings, 7 hits, 4 runs all earned. He has walked 4 and struck out 3. Pitch to Buford is a liner in the center field, base hit. Belanger goes to third. And the Orioles have runners in the corners for Davey Johnson, who tripled. A lot of triples in this game. I think we've had 3. Bill Lee fears Belanger? Yeah. Pitch to Johnson is a fly ball to shallow left center. Back goes Rice and Lynn and Burleson, and that's going to drop between everybody. Belanger scores. Johnson is on with a bloop single. I didn't describe that one very well. So Rice, Lynn, and Burleson converge, and somehow the ball fell into the Bermuda Triangle. So Buford on third, Johnson on first, and Frank Robinson, who tripled his last time up. He's walked twice, scored twice, and drove in a run. Pitch to Frank, fly ball to left. Rice is there, and that will retire the side. So the Orioles need 9 more outs, 1 run on 2 hits and no errors. 6 in the books. It's Baltimore 5, Boston 1. No, Rice was the captain. Rice was a leader. they weren't the closest to teams, but after Yastrzemski left, Rice was the leader on those 80s teams. Rick Burleson is 1 for 2. He singled. And every time you see like Fred Lynn and Jim Rice together at an alumni event, they seem to genuinely get along. Pitch from Palmer to Burleson is ball 4. And Ellie didn't like that pitch. Here's Dewey, who's 0 for 2 with a strikeout. I mean, I'm not sure I think they're golfing buddies now, but, this was not a close-knit team. But they played with Yaz's personality, which was kind of dour and straightforward anyway. Evans hits this one into center field. Blair's going to have a track down for the out. And there's one away for Rico Petrocelli. Rico was 1 for 2 with a strikeout. Pitch from Palmer, and Rico lines out one to Belanger for the second out. I mean, if Fortnite existed in 1975, they're not in the clubhouse playing it. But this wasn't the mid-70s Oakland Athletics by any stretch, nor the late 70s New York Yankees, who generally did not like each other. Pitch to Griffin, who's 0 for 2. Ground ball to Belanger, flips it to Johnson for the force, and that will retire the side. Stretch time in Baltimore. It's 5-1 Orioles. No, they made Rice the captain. If you remember, after Yaz left in '83, they weren't that good for a while. And then they got really good in the late '80s. Boog Powell, Frank Robinson, and Paul Blair. 2 for 3, Powell is. Singled twice and struck out. Pitch from Lee, and there's a liner into right field. Back goes Dewey. He makes the catch for the first out. So brings up Brooks Robinson, who is 1 for 3. He has singled and drove in a run. And Brooks sends this one into left center field. Rice should have had it. Robinson is going to hold at second with a double. And the Orioles now have 10 hits off of Bill Lee. Brings up Paul Blair and that 2-run single in the first. 5 runs, 10 hits, no errors for the Orioles. They've left 7 on. 1 run, 4 hits, and no errors. And the Red Sox have left 5 on. And Bud brings up the good point that Rice thought the Boston area was racist. And it did cause some hard feelings. The busing situations there in the 70s. And the Red Sox had a very hard time at that point recruiting free agents of color. Pitch to Blair is a base hit into left field. Robinson will hold at third. And the Orioles have runners in the corners and 1 out for Ellie Hendricks, who's 0 for 3. Yeah, that is not Bill Lee of the Red Sox. That is Bill Lee, World War II era pitcher for the Chicago Cubs. And as I said, they throw just about as hard as each other. Fisk goes out to talk to Lee. Hendricks chops out one to Burleson. Robinson will go home. Griffin to 1. Over to Yaz at first. That is 2. And the run does not score. So after 7, no runs, no hits, no error. Well, maybe a hit. It's still Baltimore 5, Boston 1. Carl Yastrzemski is 1 for 2 with a 1. New England fans are very fickle. And while I don't think Rice was wrong in that, if they had won the World Series in, let's say, '78, or at least made it back one more time in the prime of his career, I think people would have thought of Rice back then differently. Yastrzemski 1 for 2 with a single and a walk. And Carl sends this one into right center. Blair will have it for the out. Cecil Cooper's 0 for 3. Might snow here. Where are you, bud? I got the air conditioner running. It's supposed to be 78 here in Burlington tomorrow. Pitch from Palmer is a liner to Johnson, 2 out. So Palmer just doing great business, tossing a 4-hitter. And the Orioles are about 4 outs away from facing the winner of the Reggie Jackson Bowl in 2 weeks. Here's Freddie Lynn. Fred hit the lone run for the Red Sox, a solo shot in the 4th. The Black Hills of South Dakota. Oh, yeah, okay. Pitch to Lynn is a base hit into center field. He's going for 2. The throw to Johnson, not in time. And Fred's on with a double. '84 where Dale is in Ohio. Dave's in Ohio too, right? Alexa, what's the temperature?
Right now, it's 71 degrees. Tonight, expect a low of 63 degrees.
Thank you. And that...
Of course.
And that is downright balmy. Here's Rice. He's 0 for 3 with a strikeout. 38. So you can commiserate with our never-ending fall that we've had here this spring in Vermont. Pitch to Rice is a fly ball to left or right center. Blair goes back to the track, and that will retire the side. No runs, a hit, no errors after 7.5. Oh, Wisconsin. I knew you had Ohio connections. So Mr. Little is out where Mr. Koch lives. 5-1 Birds, bottom of the 8th. Belanger, Redmond, and Buford to face Lee. Pitch to Mark, ground ball right back to Lee. Over to Yaz for the first out. So the Red Sox did what I thought they were going to do. And the Orioles, Earl Weaver didn't even have, went to the tunnel a few times to sneak a couple. But didn't get mad or get ejected or cut open his Chesterfields or anything like that. Here's Redmond, he's 0 for 1. Pitch from Lee, and there's a base hit up the middle past Griffin. So the Orioles have their 12th hit. And that brings up Don Buford, who's 2 for 4. He has singled twice and scored a run. So Lee threw, 36 batters, 125 pitches. 7 1/3 innings, 12 hits. He walked 4 and struck out 3. Born and raised a Buckeye. Is Mr. Little? Not me. Pitch to Buford is a high fly ball to center. Lynn will track it down, and Redmond will go back to first for the second out. So Davy Johnson is 2 for 4. He has singled, tripled, scored, and drove in a run. Lee delivers, and that's a foul ball. Petrocelli left side, out of play. So this time, someone from Towson makes that catch, and they got themselves a souvenir. So if the Orioles hold on to win this game, they will host the American League Championship, a one-game affair. And actually, they had the best record in the tournament. So if they win their half of the bracket, they would host games 1 and 3, possibly, of this championship. And, I don't know what we'll do for a DH because the Orioles didn't use one. Anywho, pitch to Johnson, ground ball to Burleson, flips it to Griffin for the out at second, and that will retire the side. No runs, 1 hit, and no errors. After 8, Jim Palmer going to try for the complete game. Baltimore 5, Boston 1. That was 71 that Dale had the 41. No, Joe Madden's got a personality. No, 71 for the 4 starters. Joe Madden's got a personality. Bud Black kind of has one too. But nothing like Weaver. Bobby Cox, I think, was the last kind of firebrander. The rain stopped in eastern Massachusetts, so Dave could walk the dog. 5-1 Orioles. It'll be Pudge Fisk, Rick Burleson, and Dwight Evans here in the 9th for Boston. 1 run, 5 hits, no errors. They've left 6 on. 5-12-0 for the Birds. They've left 9 on. And a reminder again, next Sunday at 4, we go back to 4, for the other National League semifinal. The New York Mets await the winner of the 78 Dodgers and the 79 Pirates. And Dave Gardner will body paint himself and sing "We Are Family." Fisk is 0 for 3. Dave Little's going, he's not really, is he? No, he's not. Pitch to Fisk is a liner into left field. That's a base hit. So they'll bring up Rick Burleson, who's 1 for 2. A single and a walk. Nobody out, and we'll see how short Earl is with the leash for Palmer with a 4-run lead. Denny Doyle's going to pinch hit for Rick Burleson. Doyle at .310, 4 homers and 36 RBI. He and Doug Griffin were the combined second baseman. Joe Madden protested the game, because of Sean Doolittle's delivery. A lot of people don't like Joe Madden. I actually do. I like that kind of strong personality. Plus, he took Tampa to the World Series, for goodness sakes. Tampa. Doyle will swing and send this one in a shallow center. Blair is there for the out. So 1 out for Dewey, who is 0 for 3 with a strikeout. Palmer. Wind's blowing out now to right center field. And Bernie Carbo will pinch hit for Evans. Bernie at .257, 15 homers and 50 RBI. And his probably biggest claim to fame with the Red Sox, outside of getting himself run out of town, was, of course, his pinch hit 3-run homer in Game 6 of the 75 series. Palmer and Hendricks discuss what to throw, and Jim's ready. Here's the pitch. Carbo slaps that one into right field. Robinson picks it up. Should have had it, and the Red Sox are in business here. And Earl trots out to the mound as Rico Petrocelli comes to the plate. It's going to be Eddie Watt. Earl's going to pull no punches. And so Watt comes in to finish this. Not a save situation yet, but you don't want it to become one. So in 1970, Watt was 7-7 with 12 saves, an ERA of .325, 55 homers, 44 hits, 3 homers, 29 walks, and 33 strikeouts. Petrocelli 1 for 3 with a strikeout and a single. 5-1 Orioles, 1 out, top of the 9th. Watt deals. Petrocelli sends this one away. Back there. Back goes Buford, and it's gone. Rico Petrocelli makes it 5-4. And there's only 1 out in the top of the 9th. So now Earl says a few words. That move seemed to have backfired. 1 pitch from Watt. And it's a 1-run game as Fisk and Carbo score on a 3-run shot into left center by Rico Petrocelli. Ruh-roh. And so there's life in the Red Sox dugout yet. Doug Griffin is 0 for 3. They've already used Doyle as a pinch hitter. Pitch to Griffin, struck him out. An 0-2 pitch swung on and missed, and so now we're down to the last out, and it's Carl Yastrzemski. I don't think you can make a save situation for yourself. So the tying run is Yaz at the plate, 1 for 3 with a walk. No, this was not a blowout. The Red Sox acquitted themselves well. Watt delivers. Struck him out, and the Orioles will move on. Yaz swung on and missed, and the Orioles win 5-4, and they will move on. So Petrocelli made this a game. His 3-run shot in the 9th gave everyone in Birdland a scare. But the Orioles pounded 12 hits off of Bill Lee. And Jim Palmer did enough. 8 1/3 innings, 7 hits, 3 runs, all earned. That was fun. A homer, he walked 2 and struck out 4. Lee did what Bill Lee we thought would do. Walked 4, struck out 3, and the Red Sox just didn't have the answers to Baltimore. No one did in 1970. And Eddie Watt did pick up the save. He gave up the home run, but he got the 2 strikeouts after. And so the final score, as we go to myself, Baltimore 5, Boston 4. So we're halfway through the first round of the tournament. Baltimore will host the American League Final, and we'll know who will host the National League Final next week as the 78 Dodgers take on the 79 Pittsburgh Pirates. So that 70s tournament continues, as I said, next Sunday at 4 with the National League first round finale. And then in 2 weeks, it's the Reggie Jackson Bowl, the 72 Oakland A's at the 78 or 77 New York Yankees. And so, next baseball game on this channel, Tuesday at noon. The Pirates and the Phillies, we go back to 1982. That game is from the Vet. Anthony Crooks from Bleacher Bums Gaming is with me tomorrow night for the Ron Juckett Show. And until then, I am Ron Juckett. Hey, thank you so much for watching. We'll be with you the next time, as I said, tomorrow night to chat with Anthony. That 70s tournament presented by Sports Simulations and Replays, the best book group on Facebook to discuss all things sports simulations and replays. You played Madden? Great. So console, PCs, or tabletop at Sports Simulations and Replays on Facebook. And they are the reason we're doing that 70s tournament. Until the next time, I'm Ron Juckett. Have a good Sunday afternoon.